Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome back to the show this week. So today I wanted to do kind of an off-the-cuff episode, just sharing a little bit more about things behind the scenes right now and how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about, and also just my plans for taking some time off as I get ready for this baby to come. I cannot believe we are so close to this time and season, but for me, at least, like the last 4 to 6 weeks of pregnancy really are my jam. It's a time when I feel my best. I have the most energy. I can eat food that I want to eat. I'm finally feeling so good. And it's always a time that I really treasure and that I want to maximize enjoying being pregnant. And especially this time because it's the last time. And also the mentality of trying to prep for this baby coming into our family, like prep our house and talking with our kids and getting everything ready, not only in my personal life and family life and our home life, but also getting things ready in my business. And I was laughing the other day how different this time has felt from previous years when I've taken a maternity leave, or previous years when I've been getting ready to give birth and have a baby and go through that entire transitional process. With Noah, my first baby, it was something that I took so seriously, trying to prep everything so far in advance, like batch recording things, batch writing things like the weekly email and having blog posts all scheduled out, really, really almost killing myself in the very end of pregnancy to get things done so that it looked like I wouldn't be on leave or that I wouldn't be taking time off. And I think my perspective has shifted so much, even though that was only 5 or 6 years ago, where now I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I actually think that was probably not healthy. And I think looking back was pushing myself to this point, and all for what? Just to make it seem like I wasn't gone or wasn't taking time. And I think it's been one of the biggest lessons for me over these last 5 to 6 years of having kids, where I'm like, it's not the most important thing. My mental health, my emotional health, my physical health is just as important as my work life, and then balancing that with my family. And it feels like this happens maybe slowly over time. We're now going into this stage and season where I'm about to give birth soon. I mean, who knows? At the time that I'm recording this, it could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll see. But going into this season, I feel like it's such a healthy thing to take a break. Like if you're able to take a maternity leave or a paternity leave, or even if you have other big life transitions going on, that you don't try to push forward and you don't try to grit through things and you don't make it seem like you're just the same as you always are and just as productive and just as on top of things. I just think that there's a lot of stress and pressure that can come from that mentality. So now, coming into this season, I am feeling really great about taking some time off, even though ironically, I've had to take about 6 months off because of being so sick with hyperemesis and just being flat in bed, not really being able to work much for 6 months. And now I'm thinking about taking more time. But something like that would have really thrown me for a loop even 5 years ago. But now I feel so strongly about being in this place of like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. I know that I'm going to come back and I'll feel more refreshed and I'll feel rested. There's so much to be said about giving your body some time to recalibrate, especially after big seasons of life or big changes in your life where I want to make it more okay to do that. I'm definitely planning on taking August and September and part of October off for maternity leave. And then I'll reevaluate from there. One of the blessings of owning your own business is you get to call the shots. On the flip side, it's very similar to other jobs where if you're not working, there's nobody keeping the business afloat, so to say. I'm just going to wait and see how I feel at that time, see where my energy's at, see where the kids are at, see what my capacity is. And I know from previous years that it takes a lot longer than you think it does to feel mentally with it again after giving birth. There's so many changes in your hormones, there's so many changes in your body, like you're not sleeping. And I'm trying to keep the pressure off myself of needing to be by a certain date and more listening to my body and listening to everything that's going on and being able to make more of a call at that time. So this will be the last podcast for a while, which was something that I actually had to think long and hard about and almost went into the mode of I'll batch record these and then, we'll never miss an episode. But that's not really a mentality that I'm down with. I want other women and other women business owners to know that it's okay to take time off. The world is not going to crumble. Your people are not going to go away. In fact, I actually think that it sets a better example going forward that work is not the only thing that matters in your life. And it's okay to take some space sometimes. And it's okay to have times of recalibration or when you're focused on some different things versus running your life like a robot and always performing and always being at the top of the game for everything. And I think it leads to burnout and overwhelm and so much extra anxiety. And I see it happen a lot. Again, exactly how I used to, just pretending like, oh, I'm going to pretend like I'm not gone or I'm not taking time off or being with my family. And I guess I just want to normalize that a little bit too. So that's my plan. So this will be the last podcast recording for a while, and know that we'll be coming back after leave. And that my plan right now, even with things like our newsletter and posting on social media, my plan is honestly just to see how I feel. Like I may just take a break. I may pop on once in a while. I mean, I definitely think once I give birth, maybe I'll be able to share that, yes, it's happened, but I'm not putting any type of pressure on myself to be creating things, to be posting stuff. But I'm like, if I feel like it, if there's something that inspires me or something I want to share, I'm also not going to limit myself. So I guess I just don't have a lot of rules or structure this time. And that has been feeling really good. And I think this is probably something that's different for everyone, but I think this is because it's my third, because I feel very seasoned at business. I know that it's just for a short time. I'm not panicked about things going away or disappearing or that people will forget about me or whatever it may be. I think a lot of those fears probably do exist in the beginning when you're not really sure. But I think at this point in my career and in motherhood, I feel so strongly about this is such a short time in life, and that taking the pressure off and giving myself more space in a lot of ways, both with work and everything else, that's what's feeling good. And so that's what I am really going to be listening to. And then coming back, I do already feel excited about the things that I have slated and planned and things that I have felt really excited about for the last year. Being able to test out the pilot group, which has been going so well. We're almost done and wrapping up before I take some time off. But that's something I'm definitely wanting to bring back when I come back to things. And things like Get Real, that's an amazing thing to do at any point where people can dive in at any time and just learn about real food and the basics and everything you need to know so that you never feel confused about food again. And having more options like that. I've been working on new courses and new programs and different topic ideas that go along with real food and build out this journey of what it usually is, starting with real food. And then you get into more of how emotions are connected or memories are connected, or I'm starting to notice my thoughts around food and how I'm eating food. And is it fast or is it slow, or what I'm using food for in my life? That becomes the next layer. And then we get into what are the energetics behind food and the timing and the pace, and what are you thinking about as you're eating and how that impacts your digestion. And it just is so fascinating to me and so fun. And once people get to that stage, it's so much more about the mental and the emotional, and getting to know yourself more deeply is really what it's about, and what all of my programs are about. And anything that I create and put out there is truly with that thought and mentality of how do you get to know yourself, what your body needs, the foods it thrives with, the boundaries you need, the repeating thoughts or the limiting beliefs, and how those play out into your life and into the decisions you make and into how you show up for yourself and in the world. Like, that's what it's all about. And so coming back later in the fall, I'm really excited to dive more into that stuff and have different ways that people can experience that, especially if you're someone who has been wanting to do Simply Real Life, the method, whereas that's the big program where we really take a deep dive into all of these topics, but also having ways if you're wanting to kind of like pick and choose different areas. Like maybe it's about energetics of food, or maybe it's about feminine and masculine energy and the balance of those two things and how it plays out in our life. Maybe it's about limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind and all these deep wirings and programs that run in our brain that also prevent us from changing and prevent us from acting in the way that we want and keep us stuck. And so I am just feeling really grateful, just feeling so excited for that, and also excited to take a little bit of a pause and have a little bit of a maternity leave to soak up the newborn snuggles and to go through this big transition as a family. It's been something that, thinking through August and September, has really been my guiding light through so much of the darkness that was winter, laying in bed and trying to imagine this time and how that would feel to have time off and more time with my kids and time recovering, and just the juggle, I think, between motherhood and running a business is real. And to be able just to focus on one thing feels like such a relief. I love the balance, and I do love sort of the chaos of it and trying to figure out the puzzle and how to make it work with both. But to take some time, I think, on the back end of this experience that has been this pregnancy, to get to know this little soul that's coming into our family, and just take some time, because before I know it, this time is so fleeting and it will be gone. And even a year from now, I know that it's not going to matter that I take a couple weeks off the podcast. So that's something I always am working through in my brain. And maybe some of you can relate to that, of just constantly having to remind yourself that sometimes that the pressure that you're putting on yourself is only coming from yourself. It's only coming from your own expectations, your own standards. And we just create so much stress for ourselves by creating these almost unrealistic standards or ways that we think it should be done. And I think I have been realizing so much more lately. It's really about, how do you want it to feel? What could make this easier? How could this feel lighter? How could this feel better? How could I take the pressure off that I am putting on myself? And I think that's something that probably a lot of us women, probably a lot of mothers feel. We walk around with these expectations and these ways of doing things that it's just because we've always done them that way. And so I've been in this season of reflecting a lot on that and trying to actively choose to not have all of that extra pressure because it's my own doing. So that's something I just wanted to share today, because I feel like maybe no matter what stage of life or season you're in, it's something that we all deal with in some way, of the thoughts in our head and how they create stress that doesn't need to be there, and that there can be different ways to view things and different ways to find solutions to things, different ways to approach things. And so I'm really excited for these next couple months ahead of making that decision for myself. Also hoping that it's an example that other women can follow. Like, you don't have to pretend like you're not gone and that life is carrying on exactly the same and that it's okay if it's not, when it's good to take rest and it's good to take pauses when you can. And I just want to normalize that a little bit more. So, that being said, I am heading out for a few weeks. And if you guys do have ideas or topic shows that you do want to hear about coming back, I would love to know. We'll put a place to do that in the show notes below. But keep the ideas coming, keep the ideas flowing. And again, I want to thank you so much for being here and listening and being a part of this community and a part of this long pregnancy journey for sure. And being able to come out on the other side in a different mentality and really with this element for myself of celebration and joy and being present. That's what it's all about. Thanks so much, you guys. We'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.